Hi guys, and welcome back to the ASMR version of BYUN vs SERRAL, as once again we have a very interesting international gameplay in between the two pro players as they're spawning here on 2000 atmospheres. So like I told you, this is the ASMR version of this game. Let's just see exactly what I have prepared for us. Or first of all, let me just start by introducing the players to you guys, as we have spawning here in the lower left, in the red, it is BYUN from South Korea. And his opponent spawning here in the upper right, in the blue, it is SERRAL from Finland, a very known player in this scene, actually the world champion here, facing one of the most talented Terran players there ever was, and is of course BYUN. Here is opening up pretty standard with his supply depot, barracks and gas. Let's check SERRAL really quick. Oh, an interesting build order by him. He's not opting to go for a fast expansion, as he's making here his spawning pool first, so let's see where exactly this is going to take him, as his overlords already moving out on the map. Just scouting the proximity, of course, scouting every little space of this map, as most Terrans really like to go into a proxy barracks harassment. And yeah, there is that expansion from SERRAL. So yeah, the build order, spawning pool first. I believe he might try to add some queens really fast. He might try to add some Zerglings. Let's see exactly what the plans are from SERRAL. His expansion is, of course, a little bit delayed due to this build order and the Terran now finally adding a reactor, and he might also continue with his expansion of his own, but at the same time he is very likely going to send out an SCV to scout what exactly his opponent, what exactly the Zerg is doing. Gas is up, we might see a first Reaper by him, and BYUN interesting and nicely walling off here, and yeah, prepares his defenses, prepares his macro game, as yes, SERRAL already moving out with 6 Zerglings, so 6 Zerglings on the way towards the base from BYUN. This could actually be really deadly against his expansion, as there's only 1 SCVs, only the first Marines getting trained, but the Zerglings are rushing very fast here towards the expansion point from BYUN. The first Queen is out as well. The expansion is going to be finishing anytime soon, and let's just see what those 6 Zerglings can do against the first Marines here. Nice split by SERRAL. He's of course known for his nice micro, but the same can be said here for BYUN, as he's calling some SCVs. The 1 SCV has been sniped here. The expansion has been a little bit time cancelled here, as SERRAL just roaming around with his Zerglings, just buying some time, just scouting, of course, the proximity as well. And interesting enough, he now sees a triple barracks gameplay by BYUN, so no factory, no starport for him, straight into triple barracks. I believe he's going to go mass infantry, very likely continuing with a factory, with a starport, and yeah, really pumping out massive amounts of Marines early on. Might even try to rush SERRAL with this strategy. There's already 6 Marines out on the map, so with stim they can be, of course, very deadly. There's that stim upgrade here for BYUN, and we also see a refinery, so BYUN deciding to move out with his Marines. There's that second expansion for SERRAL. Should be, of course, some queens in the back for SERRAL to defend, but yeah, they are busy injecting larvae and of course spreading that creep around the map. So a very aggressive move now out by BYUN with his Marines after successfully defending against those Zerglings. And yeah, the queens are of course really strong early on, very tanky, but what exactly can they do? Stim is of course not being done, but BYUN feeling very confident, attacking here the hatchery from SERRAL. So of course not on blight, needs to retreat. The queen already taking quite some damage, and 1 queen has already been sniped, so nice job here by BYUN. And remember, he does this without stim, still attacking this 1 hatchery. He might even snipe the second queen as well. SERRAL needs to be very careful here, as he's pretty much under siege by BYUN. Speed has been done for those Zerglings, so this is very good for SERRAL, as he's going for a counterattack, or he might even try to surround those Marines. And yeah, speed Zerglings, sorry, very much stronger, and SERRAL is able to clear this out. He might try, like I told you, for a counter, but there's a nice wall being placed here by BYUN, as his Marines are hiding behind that wall, so BYUN should be fine against this attack by SERRAL. Yeah, SERRAL sees this, of course, and is retreating a little bit, but more Zerglings are pouring in. He might try to rush here forward, but it's just way too many Marines out. And let's check the main from beyond. There's his factory, there is his starport. Let's check SERRAL really quick. He might continue with a Roach Warrant, he might continue with a Baning's Nest. Currently he's also walling off with a Evolution Chambers. So yeah, interesting early game by these two pro players, especially now by BYUN. He has shield, combat shield also being done. Yes, stim, so those Marines are really, really strong. But they need some backup, they need to back up perhaps with some tanks. Yeah, there's this one tank. And some medivacs are of course crucial for any Terran player. So yeah, let's see how things will unfold. The first tank is out. BYUN playing it out very, very defensively now. Let's check the workers really quick. 43 for BYUN, 51 for SERRAL. As SERRAL just stands here with his Zerglings just to check in case an army move is going to happen here by BYUN. So yeah, lots and lots of queens. The hatchery has taken quite some damage. And SERRAL preparing his upgrades. He might also go for his his third expansion actually here. And let's just check. Yes, indeed, it is a Baning's Nest. So yes, SERRAL wanting to kill all of that infantry after seeing the 3 barracks is going for a Baning's Nest. Of course, the Baning's strong counter towards all of those Marines here on the ground. He's also going for a tier 2, so he might transition into some Mutalisk, might try to transition into some Hydros, some Lurkers. Would also be very, very interesting, as BYUN is already moving out here very aggressively. SERRAL at the same time tries to move here forward with his Zerglings, but there are just a couple of Marines. He should be fine, however. But yeah, the real damage, of course, is going to be dealt here against SERRAL with those steam Marines, the tanks in the back. But yeah, SERRAL having quite a large number of Banings. At the same time, he has those units in the back, so BYUN not knowing about that. So he might try, SERRAL might try a surround move. This is exactly why BYUN is splitting here his troops up. And let's see what exactly is going to happen. A little bit of exposed infantry here for BYUN, as he's now deciding to pick up and actually retreating. So he knows he was at an unknown territory, so he has to pick up and just retreat here. He has to wait for some reinforcements or just find a better position for those Marines, as they were pretty much exposed on the map. So SERRAL slowly but steadily moving forward. We have another move out by BYUN with 2 medivacs, so he might try to do a split attack, attacking with 2 groups of infantry and tanks, same time sending out those reinforcements here on the map. So yeah, quite interesting game. SERRAL still on the defense, lots and lots of Zerglings, so it's just Zergling Banelings with queens right now for him. What exactly could the transition be for tier 2? Of course, you can check the production building in the upper left part just in case I'm missing something. Still more and more Zerglings are being produced for SERRAL, and more Banelings as well, as the 2 medivacs are now finally moving out here for BYUN. Let's just see, he's splitting the troops once again, attacking the hatchery, this hatchery here as well, and at the same time he's attacking here as well. So such a hard move here by BYUN. He really needs to be on point with his micro, and SERRAL has to stay of course on the defense as he's being attacked all over the place. The hatchery has been cancelled. SERRAL still roaming around, still needs to be guessing where exactly the main attack is going to happen here, but BYUN doing a really, really nice job with his small forces, his small task forces, having the tanks in the back nicely hidden behind those plants here. We even have some fishes onto 2000 atmosphere, so very, very beautiful glowing plants here for the Terran player. A nice hiding post as he's going to leave those tanks behind. See more and more Zerglings moving out here for SERRAL, and he might try to bust here forward. There's really a huge number of Banelings and Zerglings. There's just one wall of, and those SCVs will be snapped, but there are Terrans in the back, there are Marines in the back with a tank. So this is exactly why SERRAL sends out one Zergling just to check out how much firepower the Terran has. And yeah, still BYUN on the wait, still trying to surround, of course, SERRAL. SERRAL's also with a strong force here, mutating more and more Banelings, as still BYUN is moving out with this small task force just to attack this base here. At the same time double attacking here, but SERRAL finally kills those units, and SERRAL preparing now a huge attack with those Zerglings, with those Banelings. Stim is going up for those Marines. They're a little bit exposed, but in come the Banelings. The real damage dealers are of course the Banelings. He's heading straight towards that CV point here, and the mineral line is pretty much shattered, and some Marines will take damage as well. But the attack is not over, as still so many SCVs are being killed here by those Zerglings. BYUN caught off guard here, SERRAL pretty much punishing him here by killing 26 workers at the same time. A couple of drones are being killed here as well by the small task force for BYUN. But yes, SERRAL pretty much in command now, as BYUN has dropped to 37 workers. Of course, the Zerglings and the Banelings have been sniped, but it was pretty much worth it just to kill so many workers. And let's not forget that also some supply depots have been killed here as well. So BYUN pretty much on the retreat now. He has to defend his base. Sends out some Marines, and look at that, just a small task force of 2 Marines can deal quite some damage. 3 more drones have been killed. And yeah, BYUN also nicely forcing SERRAL to stay back here and defend. At the same time, BYUN has to, of course, defend. He has called some mules, much needed mules now for the economy from the Terran. Somehow BYUN has came back to 46 workers now. And SERRAL with a quite strong force. Army-wise, they're both quite at the same count. And let's see what exactly is going to happen. As we've passed the 10-minute mark, we've passed the half time of this game. And yeah, BYUN still roaming around with his Marines, just showing his presence. At the same time, checking the middle of the map. SERRAL stays at Zerglings, stays at Banelings. So no wishes for any other units, no wishes for Mutalisk, no Idolisk or Roaches, as more and more upgrades are being done by him. So yeah, let's see BYUN also moving out with his Medivacs, nicely kiting those Marines back and forward, so lots and lots of Zerglings will fall. But yeah, the real damage dealers are of course the tanks in the back, so much splash damage. And sadly for SERRAL, his Banelings didn't get quite some connections. This one Marine is going to get finally sniped. So yeah, BYUN very strong multitask here by him. Very good micro, and also nice traps being established by him with his tanks hidden in the back and those Marines luring the enemy towards the tank shots. Let's just check the kills on this one. 20 kills and 9 kills on this one. Yeah, slowly but steadily BYUN is moving forward towards the base from SERRAL. And yes, SERRAL looking really strong with those Banelings waiting of course for the attack. BYUN needs to be careful to split his units. Stimming now up, just clearing some of those creep eggs, and at the same time this other task force is attacking here, but there is a spore. SERRAL might try to go once again for this expansion point, so such a hard game for SERRAL to defend, and a nice position being found here by BYUN with those Medivacs, with those Marines, making them really tanky against so many Zerglings. And we also see 7 SCVs being killed. I believe this could have been a Baneling drop here into this location. 7 SCVs, nice snipe by SERRAL. As now once again BYUN is moving forward with his Medivacs, with his Marines, and yeah, more and more reinforcements are pouring in, and the real damage dealers in the back, the tanks are also moving forward. So BYUN slowly but steadily getting pace, pushing more and more forward towards SERRAL. SERRAL is being cornered. He's still, however, deciding to stay into Zerglings with Banelings, and yeah, his hatchery is about to get sniped here. So those tanks in the back, of course, really deadly against so many Zerglings and Banelings. And perhaps SERRAL really needs to transition into something else, as BYUN is still kiting, still microing his units out of dangers with those Medivacs. So nice job here by him. And yes, SERRAL adding more and more of those Zerglings, and now finally deciding to split. He might try to do an attack against SERRAL. Let's see how those things will unfold. Still the tanks are moving slowly but steadily forward towards the enemy base. BYUN, notice how nicely he's microing those Medivacs, those Marines, and there isn't a Liberator in the air. So the Liberator also very strong unit against such a small unit like the Zerglings or the Banelings. So nice job here by BYUN showing us his task, but at the same time we also have another engagement here. This time the Marines have been sniped by SERRAL, but the real damage and the really important sniping is about to happen here, as the hatchery is dropping really low. The Queens will heal it, and nice healing is happening here. But yet the tanks are not attacking quite yet, as the Liberator is still in the air. So SERRAL decides to abandon this expansion point, as BYUN is just gaining more and more ground here against SERRAL. So nice job by him. Worker wise, however, SERRAL having more and more workers, so his economy should be much stronger. He should be able to replenish those Zerglings counts. And let's have a look where exactly he's heading now. The main force from BYUN is very far away, as now SERRAL finally deciding to be aggressive, finally deciding to attack, and there's just one tank here defending, just a couple of Zerglings now pouring in, but there's reinforcements in the back. So SERRAL could of course try to attack from different places here just to clear the main attack force by BYUN. He has some units here, he has some units in the back, so I believe this could be his strategy. Let's see if it's going to work out. The siege tanks are sieged up. And yes, by the looks of it now, finally SERRAL coming in from all of the direction. The swarm is pretty much surrounding everything BYUN has here. There's even queens in the back. And yeah, BYUN just has to lift up his units, his infantry, and just has to retreat. It's SERRAL now finally retaking the territory, and very likely, yes indeed, he's going for his expansion. So yeah, such a hard game. We see the upgrades, max upgrades for the Terran troops, almost maximum for the Zerg. As BYUN now finally has decided to calm down a little bit and taking his expansion here as well. And yeah, he's also having a vision of this location here. So interesting game. Some banks will be sniped here as the Medivacs and the Terran forces are slowly but steadily be moving forward with a Liberator securing this zone for BYUN. So nice mix of units, tanks with infantry. But yeah, hold on, BYUN once again going for this expansion, which is getting cancelled. At the same time, he's also moving out here, but there's so many queens here for SERRAL and BYUN. Very much deep in territory, in enemy territory, and sadly for him, he didn't pay attention. So much supply being lost by him, a little bit of a mistake for BYUN, but of course it happens. So yeah, BYUN has to regroup now. He has lost quite some infantry here, of around 30 supply, I believe it was, as those tanks keep shooting those Zerglings. But yeah, his army is still very strong. That infantry looking really nice with the tanks in the back, those important tanks dealing that splash damage against SERRAL at the same time moving up forward. And so many SCVs might get sniped here, as the tank and the Liberator are pretty much defending this location. Yeah, only 2 SCVs, interesting enough, so BYUN being very lucky, as the muscular arguments are being finished here really soon for the Zerg. And once again, BYUN deciding to do another siege, but SERRAL wisely expanding here in the upper part, regaining his expansions. At the same time, once again, preparing a surround. So it's really important for a Zerg to just surround the Terran units. If you just attack in straight, those tanks will pretty much obliterate everything. So let's see what's going to happen. BYUN feeling confident, he's splitting his troops, he is retreating now, nicely cutting back and forth, but once again SERRAL coming in from all sides. So much damage being taken by the Terran, as the Banelings getting quite some good connections. Very hard to out micro this, and the Banelings also will try to attack. So once again, a big army composition is being lost here by BYUN. Sadly for him, he has dropped to around 111 supply. His reinforcements are pouring in, but SERRAL at the same time with his cheap Zerglings moves forward. But there is a Liberator in the air, there are some tanks in the back. So this tank should have many kills. Look at that, 64 kills for this one hero tank. And BYUN once again deciding to attack here, this expansion deciding to cripple the economy from SERRAL, as yeah, the Banelings not really getting some connections. Still the Zerglings are in the back, the fully upgraded Zerglings doing quite some great damage here against BYUN. So yeah, it's still anyone's game, a very balanced game. The only difference, of course, the better economy from SERRAL versus his opponent. And yeah, let's see how things will unfold. This hatchery has been sniped here as well, so some Zerglings still move around, and yeah, they might kill more SCVs. So yeah, BYUN just calling for those mules to just mine more minerals. At the same time, it's also moving out with his task force, a huge army move out here by him with those tanks, with those Liberators and Medivacs. Where exactly is he heading? Perhaps towards those new expansions that are being set up here by SERRAL. Yes, SERRAL has to of course defend. He even pulls some drones. All of those drones are being pulled back, so he knew that BYUN was coming here, and BYUN once again slowly but steadily starting his attack. At the same time, the Zerglings in the back dealing economic damage against BYUN. BYUN pretty much has to commit now. The Zerglings are still in position here for SERRAL. Might try to kill some units here, some SCVs. no more tanks in the back to defend, so lots and lots of SCVs will fall. Some Marines are in the back, and BYUN is pretty much being now forced to do this attack, so his still Marines are in the front. SERRAL once again repositioning those Zerglings in the back, might try once again to go for a surround. There is creep everywhere, so BYUN pretty much being surrounded by creep, and yes, SERRAL might try to just find a better position for his units to attack here. 19 SCVs have been killed, so sadly for BYUN he has dropped to 17 SCVs. Very hard game for him. Still his army is looking really strong, 120 supplies, so those buildings in the back dealing quite great economic damage against the Terran player. Let's see, finally the hatchery has been sniped here. BYUN once again slowly but steadily moving forward, but he has lost so many workers. He has 61 workers for SERRAL. Yes, however, such a nice mix of an army here for the Terran as more and more creep eggs will fall. And yeah, he's still pushing forward with a small Terran force, with a small infantry, just to lure once again the units towards those tanks. And Queen almost getting sniped here. Nice kiting back and forth here by BYUN. Still SERRAL comes in from the back, so he's trying once again to attack that infantry, sniping some banelings. And yeah, SERRAL looking like he's pretty much going to commit here, but he's attacking straight towards those tanks, straight towards those liberators. Still BYUN holds, especially thanks to those liberators in the air. And yeah, let's see if SERRAL can somehow come back from this. He has lost quite huge amounts of damage. At the same time, in comes BYUN with his small task force just to attack those drones here. 10 drones have been killed. And yeah, the real damage, of course, is happening here. Kiting Marines back and forward, the liberators in the air, dealing also quite some damage, and BYUN just keeps moving forward. Still some banelings are about to get finished here, but SERRAL did GG out, so we have a victory here for BYUN. So somehow, even with a smaller economy here for BYUN, his micro was very great. In the last fight, SERRAL just pulled forward straight into those tanks and liberators, and that gave, of course, BYUN the advantage. Sadly for SERRAL, he has fallen to 30 supply of army, and yeah, BYUN still having a large amount of army alive. That has given him the victory. At one point I was thinking, of course, that SERRAL will take it, perhaps with a better surrounding movement, but of course he knows exactly what he's doing. He is the world champion. So yeah, such a nice game in between these two pros. In the end, BYUN with a nice micro, with a great kiting back and forth out of that infantry, with those medivacs, with the liberators and the tanks, he is able to take this victory. And such a great multitask by him, being all over the map, attacking at the same time, even into 3 locations. So very hard to execute. Same can be said for SERRAL. He defended really nicely and counterattacked also really nicely, damaging that economy. Look at that, only 70 workers for BYUN. So such a nice game by both players. In the end, BYUN taking it. So once again, I hope you enjoyed this new format of a cast. It's called ASMR. Of course, many should be familiar with this. And yeah, I'm going to be trying some more experiments here on this channel. Once again, I would like to thank you for watching. Thanks for listening. This is Tommy signing out.